A football ground is at the very heart of a football club. It's not just where you play the matches, but it's where everyone meets up, where everyone gets to be happy together, as we saw at Elland Road last weekend, especially when we got promoted and the partying atmosphere was just incredible. Now, what sort of matters is keeping that stadium up to date with the times, and that is where Leeds United's ongoing development of the ground comes in, which is going to be the topic of this video. But before I dive into that, thank you to the channel sponsor Match Bingo. If it's a match day and you're fancying a way of just sort of watching the game in a more entertaining way, scan the QR code, get yourself a cheeky little sort of match bingo card, and then depending on what happens during the match, for 1 line, 2 lines, or a full house, you'll win a cash prize, and it's great. But only play for 18 plus, be gamble aware. All those links are down below, all that fun stuff. But we need to get into the important stuff now, which is talking about the football ground. So, specifically, I'm going to cover what the proposal is, the various aspects of it, including the mass rapid transport stuff, what's happening with the surrounded land, the estimated impacts of everything, the timeline, and ultimately where Leeds United can expect to be relatively soonish. So we've got to start with what the proposal is, and basically Leeds are looking to boost the capacity of the ground from 37.6 thousand people to 56.5. Everyone has been through that stress and pressure of trying to get a ticket to a Leeds match at the last minute, and it's not going to happen. I know how hectic people are getting over trying to get Bristol tickets. I was lucky enough to get one in the ballot, but that's going to continue to be an issue as long as the club has a 37,000 person capacity, because Leeds itself is colossal at this point, with many, many, many Leeds fans. So a growing stadium is necessary for a growing city. To do so, they're looking to do construction on the West Stand and the North Stand, and it does all wrap into a slightly wider plan for the entire area, including the mass rapid transit system. All of this is referring to a document that came out from the City Council, by the way. If I'm going a little bit fast or anything, I will try to slow things down, but this is me trying to sort of like human talk a City Council document, because I'm used to City Council things from stuff I did at university. But yeah, the mass rapid transit system, it specifically references transport to and from the stadium, because match days are chaos. We all know this. But this is where I think we've taken a sort of clever step, and we've said it's not just the ground will spread beyond, because there's a mention of the White Rose Business Park, and discussions of how the White Rose Office Park hires, I think, 5,000 people or something like that at DAZN and Sky and the NHS and various other people, which is a very clever move. It means that basically everywhere, not just for Leeds United. And it ties all of that in as like a catalyst for economic growth, pulling everywhere together and making spending money easier for future customers, which, let's be honest, if we're in the Premier League, a lot of people are going to be. There is also discussion around the surrounding land, and the surrounding land is, in my opinion, very, very interesting in this conversation. And for me, the first majorly sort of intriguing part of the surrounding land conversation is that Leeds City Council own a hell of a lot of it. Leeds don't own land beyond the footprint they currently have, which makes things a little bit tricky, but conversations with the City Council, which now have approval from City Councillors, have meant that a significant proportion of that land is up for development and sale. So specifically, the land up for sale is this chunk. So behind the West Stand over here, all the way down to the road itself, and sort of between the back of the North Stand and the road that is next to it, which is a hell of a footprint to expand onto. And it's a very big step for Leeds United to take, because that's a solid chunk of land, and it sort of doesn't just provide potential for this expansion, it provides long-term future-proofing sort of potential, which is a great idea. And that's in addition to the land that is open for collaboration. This is a wider version of the view that was had previously, and it goes all the way down to the bridge next to the, is it called Ice Planet? I don't know, the ice skating place. And it also covers park and ride, car parks opposite the ground, the land surrounding the Centenary Pavilion. There's a hell of a lot of space that the City Council are willing to work with the club on, which is absolutely fantastic, especially since a lot of this conversation comes from an initial discussion that was around a 2007 planning statement, where the area was sort of designed to have some economic development done to it. So building an arena and conference centres and all that kind of stuff. And that didn't end up happening. This was the Ken Bates Casino bollocks. But the idea of using the area for economic development has stuck around and will continue to stick around for reasons I'll get into later. The reason that the title of this video discusses a very, very large sum of money. In addition to that, it's not just the city council working on their own. They want some guarantees. They want to know that there's going to actually be effort put in here. So they're set to work with the Lowy Group on using the land effectively. Pete Lowy is one of the board members, I believe, at Leeds United at the moment, runs a fairly large construction contracting business in the billions of pounds sort of area. And it just sort of makes sense to have him on board to sort of rejuvenate the area, because the better the area around Leeds does, the better Leeds United will do. And now we get in the estimated impacts. We know that it's going to be very, very good at attracting far larger events. So not just sort of concerts and all that kind of bollocks. But the reason Leeds United missed out on having a match at the Euros in 2028 was because Everton got their stadium done. And there are bigger grounds. And if we had acted faster, then those larger events would have come to Leeds and we would have been able to host those big, fantastic things. In addition to that, we've got a greater level of connectivity because the city and the White Rose and Elland Road will become far more linked up by those transport links. But the investment is one of the bigger things for the city council, because they're estimating approximately £1 billion of capital investment in the area, based on the amount that is spent in similar areas around similar football stadiums with similar developments. And this isn't just good for the city council. It's good for the club, it's good for the neighbourhoods, it's good for the businesses, it's good for the consumers. And this is the kind of thing that helps the city kickstart and get going, which is why I think the timeline on this needs to be very tight. And luckily, there is discussion on the timeline. Specifically, Leeds could be starting construction within the year, within 12 months, by, I believe they mentioned next summer, if everything in terms of planning process is very, very smooth. In terms of completion, it's a two-phase project. So phase 1 is the west end. That makes sense. That's the one that needs redoing. Phase 2, the north. Phase 1 is the only one that we have a timeline for at the minute, but the estimated phase 1 completion, the west end, is by 2028, which, that's not too far away. It's 3 years. Which is a heck of a turnaround. And I hope we get it done quickly, and I hope we're able to continue to build. And the plan is, of course, to build over the existing West End and then build down, just to make sure that we're able to sort of keep it going on match days. But if we're able to get this right, this sets a very, very nice precedent for the club. And this is a thing that isn't like publicly out yet, but apparently the West End is not just going to be a carbon copy of the East. Apparently the designs are quite unique in a way that fans will like, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing those. So let's get started. Let's get to it. Let's get the stadium a bit bigger. Let's make it easier to buy some tickets, shall we? Either way, hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, pop a like on it, subscribe if you're not. You could even be a channel member. Get videos like this one early. This is coming out, I believe, 6 hours early, because I can't record in the morning, because there's something charity match related showing up at my door. That I need to be up and about for. And I'm also working in the morning, but you don't care about that bit. Hope you enjoyed. We'll see you later. Toodaloo.